Ask Reddit, what fucked up thing did you do as a kid? When I was 11, my friend and I soaked a tennis ball in gasoline and lit it on fire, and with gloves on tossed it around with my friend. Just cause. Ended up throwing it to him in an arc and he missed and it slid down his chest, leaving a on fire gasoline trail on his shirt. Had 1st degree burns and we really got in trouble for that one. Gave my little brother X-Lax and told him it was chocolate when we were under 10. I knew it would give him diarrhea, but I didn't know how badly. It was fucked up. I tried to poison my mom's boyfriend. I was probably around 11. I had one of those science kits from the Scholastic Book Fair. I took the citric acid and dumped the whole container into his drink. He sipped it and just said, "This tastes like shit," and dumped it out, lol. I find this even funnier because citric acid is harmless. I think I've actually seen it recently at Walmart for cooking purposes. Yeah, it's like putting lemon juice in someone's drink. This made me laugh. Imagine being so happy you're going to kill the person you hate, just to watch them pour out your hard work and planning. I was pretty young when this happened, maybe 13 years old. I was in a hot tub with my friends and I thought I had to fart. It was not a fart. Pooped in my bathing suit, so I casually grabbed it with my hand and while no one was looking I dropped it behind the hot tub. I was at some Amway function at a lake with my parents. I couldn't have been more than 11 years old. I had to shit and didn't know where the bathrooms were, so I swam out a little ways and pooped. A few minutes later the tide brought my solidly formed log floating towards the gaggle of us kiddos, resulting in many screams and frantic splashing as they tried to escape my predatory turd. Edit. Just realized I typed this from the toilet where I am shitting currently. Time is a flat circle. In 7th grade, my best friend asked me if I would go and ask the boy she liked if he liked her and if he would go out with her. I went over and asked him if he liked her. He said no. Then I asked if he liked me. He said yes. And then I asked him to be my boyfriend. He said yes. Then I went right back to my friend and told her that he didn't like her, but that he liked me and was now my boyfriend. I don't know why I did that. Cha-cha real smooth. In 7th grade, I lit a poster on fire that was hanging on the basement wall adjacent to my parents' indoor heating oil tank. I'm hoping from the lack of follow-up that your house didn't go up in flames. Eat coins. I made my brother and his friends a jug of Kool-Aid with water from the toilet. I still cringe when I remember that I asked my 6th grade teacher what a blowjob was because some older kids kept talking about it. She was cool though and told me. I flipped off people while going for a walk with my parents when I was 5. I didn't realize that was a bad thing to do. My cousins lived off a pretty major street growing up. We would put logs in the road for cars to run over because it would make a loud sound like a gunshot went off when it hit the bottom of their car. We did this for a while until a motorcycle almost ran over it and we realized how dangerous it was. I had a notebook that I proceeded to fill with drawings. Each page was a scene like a comic book. It told the pictorial story of a woman getting pregnant and giving birth with graphic detail according to my 7-year-old understanding of how birth worked. She pooped the baby, didn't she? Went to the cinema dressed as a ninja for attention. How were you supposed to get attention if nobody could see you? Yeah. He clearly spelled free admission wrong. When I was 13, the blizzard of '93 rolled through, holding me captive for 2 weeks indoors with my family. I was lonely, horny, and hadn't seen a female in 2 whole weeks. I was dying to get out of the house one day when I had one of the most brilliant ideas. I made my way to the woods behind my house, climbed down into a gully. In that gully is where I made her, a snow woman. She was amazing. I sculpted her out of snow covering the ground so I could lay on top of her. I gave her some boobs, some curves and a hole, and for some reason, a smile and 2 rocks for eyes to gaze into. I removed my gloves, unzipped and got busy. When I finished, I brushed myself off and erased her, climbed out of the gully, through the woods and back inside to my room and listened to counting crows for an hour or so. And never has another woman been able to compare to that fleeting tryst in the gully. cold-hearted bitch melted away at the first sign of spring. When I was 8, I stole my father's nickel collection and spent it on penny candy. Yo, what the fuck? Is he mad at you? Was it silver or proofs? My dad has a massive collection of silver quarters he inherited from his dad. At one point, he counted and put them all in paper rolls. My younger brother took a few rolls, having no idea what they were or what they were worth, and blew all of them in fucking quarter machines. My dad was beyond pissed. Why he kept them in a cardboard box in a closet, I don't know. But either way, my father shouldn't have been going through their shit and taken them. But he keeps them locked up now. My cousin and I were like 7ish or so and playing upstairs in a room by ourselves. My aunt left her sewing machine in there ready to go. We were fascinated by how fast the needle moved up and down when we stepped on the foot pedal. Then we had the idea to see who could get their finger out of the way before the needle started moving. He went. Safe. I went. Safe. He went. Blood shot out and screaming commenced. When I was around 4, I remember my older sister, 8, playing around with the sewing machine, and I got curious and stuck my finger right under the needle. I have also tried to touch the fire while she was warming up milk on a gas stove. I was the idiot child who wanted to know what everything was and felt like. Surprised I only have tiny scars here and there and never broke a bone or grossly disfigured myself. I put liquid soap on my siblings' toothbrushes for April Fools because I read about it as a prank somewhere. I took my holidays very seriously. I did this to myself when I was around 4 because we were out of toothpaste. My older brother pissed me off, so I pissed in a super soaker. I helped a Jewish kid steal a Christmas tree. He complained his family never had a Christmas tree. I feel like this could be the plot of a movie. I threw a surprise party for my high school friend who I discovered was a Jehovah's Witness. She told me when she showed up to her party. Once pissed on a kid through a chain link fence while my friends and I were chatting with him and his brother. I used to have a couple bullies in the 1st grade. One day they decided it would be a good idea to strap me to a bench and strip me. So you know what I did? I shit my pants right then and there. They never bothered me again. Dominance, hell yeah. When I was in 2nd grade, I said my teacher was stabbing kids with pencils. The others were brought in one at a time and questioned. This did not happen, and I remember the teacher fondly and have no idea why I did it. I guess for the same reason most kids randomly do shit, to see what happens next. One time I slathered yogurt all over my feet. When my mom asked me why, I honestly had no explanation for her. I just did it. My friend and I ripped and stole pages out of a neighbor's Cosmo that had pictures of boobs. I think it might have been for breast self-exams. We were 10-year-old girls at the time and got totally busted by my parents. That same friend and I got into a different neighbor's trash bags after Thanksgiving and decided to sample some of their leftovers. What the actual fuck? Kids are so strange. Hey, we didn't eat fucking garbage, so don't call us weird. I put countless rocks on the train tracks in hopes of derailing it. Filled a super soaker with rubbing alcohol and sprayed fire. So basically attempted mass murder. As a teenager I used to stick my dick in the bath drain while the water drained out. Yeah, no. For the suction feeling. Edit. For those asking how. Upward facing dog yoga pose. Edit 2. To answer a few more questions. No. I didn't contract any diseases. The length of my member is average length in its solid state. There was a grate in the hole. So my dick didn't actually go down the drain. The vortex of the draining water created the suck. From what a couple of plumber redditors have noted. What I did was fucking gross. No. He's got a point. My friend and I hid underneath the desk during a fire drill in 10th grade. We both got an F for conduct that day. My mom was pissed. Not sure duck and cover works for fires. Can't die in a fire if the fire can't find you. I would make animal tails out of paper. Tape them to my butt. Then pretend I was said animal and run around on all fours, making animal noises. I did not turn out to be a furry. However, once when pretending to be a ring-tailed lemur I pranced straight into a closed glass patio door. Maybe that smacked the furry out of me. I used to pretend I was a dinosaur or a horse, you pick the face, and would run around with my hands bent on themselves, like claws/hooves to my 6-yo self. And make noises like said animals, pawing at the ground with my feet. I did this in public places, like bookstores and shopping centers. My brother-in-law recently said when he and my sister would take me on outings that people thought I was developmentally disabled. He didn't tell me what their response to those people was. I don't know if it would be considered fucked up, but my brother and I made homemade darts drum push pins, the pins used to hold dress shirts at stores, and would throw them at each other. They would stick in our skin and wiggle and we would laugh our asses off. My brothers and I figured out that if you pulled the suction cup off of Nerf darts, you could put a push pin, the colored ones for a corkboard, in it and would fire normally. And of course we shot the crap out of each other. Pooped my pants when I was like 5. Didn't want to tell anyone, so I dropped it in the heater duct in my room. House got sold and we moved away not long after, unrelated. I love when kids try to hide things they don't want anyone to find, and the fucking garbage can is not the most obvious place to put it. Nice surprise to the new owners. Dropped a rope out of my second-story window. Tied it to a plastic tricycle. Asked my neighbor if he wanted to go for a ride, and lifted him up to the window with the help of my brother and sister. Then we dropped him, and caught the rope before he hit the ground. It was stupid, but none of us had parents responsible enough to watch us or teach us anything. I took a dump in a plastic bag and hid it in my closet for reasons. Also used to stick my wang out between the curtains of my bedroom window after bedtime when I first started getting boners because the risk of being seen was thrilling. I lived on a busy street. Guess I was a born exhibitionist. What happened to the bag? My parents had to have found it. I went to check on my pet turd one day and it was no longer there. We never spoke of it. They've both passed, so I will never know who found it or what happened to it. Life's mysteries. My parents used to peel apples because kids can have trouble swallowing and chewing the skin. I was upset I wasn't allowed it, and when they weren't looking I took the skin out of the garbage and ate it. You showed them. Threw 2 big bags of hamster bedding through my fan and acted like a news forecaster and acted like it was snowing, and parents woke up to my room being covered in over an inch of bedding. Needless to say, I didn't own the hamster anymore. This one made me laugh hardcore. Then, wonder what happened to the hamster. Gary was relocated to another family, haha. My stepmom was abusive to me, so when she'd fall asleep I'd say mean things to her hoping she'd hear it in her dreams. More stupid than fucked up. This is cute and sad. Don't worry. Karma came around to her. My sister and I would ask our friends a question. If they answered wrong we would be like, "You dumbass donkey," and ride the person while making donkey noises saying, "Walk. Donkey. You stupid ass." And so on. A friend once said New York was the capital of the states and we fucking rode him for half an hour. Edit. We did thus from age 6 to around 13. We would not ask the donkey. It was more of a tackle situation. Yes, I did grow up to be into BDSM. Lots of dead animals and stories about poop, and this is what you bring to the party. I used to pee on my brother's bed in the mornings so I would get first crack at video games or TV while he helped clean up his mess. Update: I did not pee on my brother. I used to make sure that I was peeing away from him and on top of the covers. This occurred just a couple of times, probably coinciding with some video game we rented for the weekend. I'm sure my parents were aware something was off about the whole thing, but they never let on and now don't recall being suspicious of me. I've told the story to my family and we laugh about it now. My brother doesn't recall wetting the bed at that age. I am sorry for what I did. It was selfish action. But watching him playing video games wrong was very frustrating as a kid. Thank you for the shower of gold, kind strangers. Wow, this one really made it under the radar. This is some supervillain origin story shit. I was absolutely terrible to the first man my mom dated after she and my father split. Really terrible. I once told the man, in the middle of dinner and apropos of nothing, that I hated him and hoped he died in a car wreck on the way home. Said calmly, with a straight face, that man did nothing wrong. Was always good to me. I still feel terrible about it more than 20 years later. Did you apologize to him? I did. Ran into him at a gas station years later and told him how sorry I was for being such an awful little shit to him. When I was 5 I had hair down to my ass. I was tired of my mom brushing it, so I cut it all off and peed on it in a bucket. Miss Rita's 5-year-old with hairy ass. Long enough to brush? WTF. I'd be angry too. My friends and I were out riding out bikes and saw a dead squirrel in the road. Kid Logic said picking that carcass up with some sticks, carrying it to a random front step and doing a ding-ding ditch was a good idea. About a week later we notice a for sale sign in that house. To this day I'm suspicious this poor family thought they were being targeted by some sociopath and noped the fuck out of there. Maybe a resident of that house killed the squirrel and they freaked the fuck out thinking it was some shamanic curse that caused the squirrel to come back. Looked at naked girls my own age because I thought that was what you were supposed to do. Sometimes I look back and think how much of my dad's life I could have fucked up by innocently doing this. Yeah, I tried to do the same thing once when I was much younger, am 15 now. And I was absolutely scared shitless for a solid week of how I was gonna explain this to the cops who would inevitably show up on our doorstep. Edit. Yo, thanks for the silver. Although now I am definitely screwed if I ever wanna tell someone how I got my first award. Edit 2. Holy fucking shit LMAO. Now it's even worse. Oh well, karma over social life. One time I peed in my cousin's ear from the top bunk. The sniper. When I was around 7 I shit in a cup and gave it to my brother, who was in high school, to eat it and told him it was chocolate popcorn. Long story short, he did not eat it. Did something similar. I shit and pissed in a bottle of iced tea to make it look like iced tea before I gave it to my sister. She threw it out immediately. I also used to wipe shit on the walls when my parents got divorced. Then penciled myself black one day in 8th grade before they suspended me. I was a rebel child who hated everything. I kind of relate to the Queen song. I had a nanny with an enormous ass and I snuggled up to it regularly and she apparently saw nothing wrong with it. Who knows, maybe it was her idea. I was too young to really pay attention. Anyway, I like butts as an adult, go figure. It's pretty common for kids to snuggle up to / hide behind their mom's butts at some point in their toddlerhood. It is not as common with unrelated women. Was this woman a mother figure to you? Was your mom not around much? Do you think you were neglected? Don't worry about answering if it's too weird. I pooed on the floor then smudged it all onto my little sister's doll. The scat man. Jesus Christ, mine is really not as bad as everyone else. We grew up not having a lot of money. One day my dad had the day off and he wanted to treat me to a restaurant by his work that he always wanted to go to. I was an asshole and I complained the whole time and thought the place was too cheap. He was excited to take me. I feel awful. Edit. Thank you for the gold. I am going on a trip to India with my parents next week to visit my dad's family. He always gets really excited to take us there and show us his family and where he grew up. I promise you all I will apologize to him and make it up to him there. If it makes you feel better. This is actually worse. I would hold my foreskin closed and then pee till it filled up. Then let go a piss explosion all over the bathroom. Edit. God damn it. Really didn't want this to be my highest rated comment. Pretty sure there are a few guys at work that play this game. I stole my dead maternal grandmother's third-type engagement ring and lost it on the playground when I was 6 years old while my parents were losing the house. I liked holding shiny things and I forgot about it. We were basically almost homeless because of what I did. Dark thoughts. My dad had bad OCD and made the family miserable because of it. As a teenager on Fridays after school I would rearrange the furniture in the house or his precious tools in his workshop/garage and then disappear for the weekend. As an adult I realize he couldn't control it and he loved us deep down and I feel guilty about it. But at the time it was hilarious to me and my siblings and felt good. Growing up in the 80s. Every time I swore my parents threatened to wash my mouth out with a bar of soap. I got tired of hearing it, so the next time they made the threat I went to the bathroom. Came back with a bar of soap and with a smile on my face proceeded to scrub my mouth with it. Can't make it a punishment if I enjoy it. Tried to look at the sun with a magnifying glass. Edit. Shit, this blew up. My retina is fine. It immediately hurt, so I flinched pretty quick. I was looking at leaves and shit up close and was amazed at the level of detail. That's when I got the bright, no pun intended, idea to look at the sun. I used to take a mental note of every significant compliment I got and added it to a list that I'd look at when L felt said LOL. When I was little I'd ask for a bowl of ice cream and wait for it to melt. Then dunk my big toe in it and suck it off my toe. Man, what the fuck. I was 12 and tried searching everywhere for porn of children of my age because I didn't like looking at adults. Boy, was I stupid. I did this around the same age. Still surprised no one ever bashed our door down. I mean, you can't blame anyone for liking people of the same age. I thought it would be a great practical joke to bury a corn holder. Small handle with 2 sharp prongs to hold corn on the cob. Pointy side up in my yard and wait for someone to step on it. Of course. Being a kid after all. I lost interest after a time and forgot. Sometime later in the summer. While walking barefoot. Yes. I stepped on it. Fuck, that hurt. Learned a valuable lesson about practical jokes.